Greetings! Welcome to another exciting episode of Ghosts Are Near, where we discuss various aspects of the paranormal and paranormal investigation. I'm your host, Keith Johnson, also the founder of N.E.A.R, New England Anomalies Research. With me is my co-host, Sandra Johnson.
Hello there.
Senior N.E.A.R member, Carl Johnson.
Good evening.
And we have N.E.A.R Renee Smith joining us as well.
Hey.
Renee's with us.
Now, our topic tonight is the Paranormal X convention, which we all recently attended. And Sandra and Carl and I were speakers at that event. And we actually have some footage for you from that event, some action-packed footage. We don't want to miss one action-packed minute, do we?
Goody.
That's right.
Of course, it was to benefit Rolling Hills Asylum Preservation,
Yes,
organized by SCAR's personnel, Ray Dualaby, John Bortano, and we had some great speakers. We had a great time. It was a wonderful event. We had a lot of fun. Renee was with us briefly for that event. Then she had to leave to win a lot of money.
Yeah, well.
I don't know why she came back with us, but here she is.
Yeah, I didn't exactly come back rich, but, you know.
Oh, well, you had fun. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you will recognize some people in this footage, I believe. You'll see the three divas, Donna, Lisa, and Paula. You'll see Brian Hanwha, and you'll see some of them.
His screen debut on Ghosts Are Near.
Exactly, his screen debut on Ghosts Are Near.
We haven't been able to get him in the studio for an interview, but this will be the next best thing.
Oh, yeah.
He gets within a mile radius, then he takes a wrong turn and doesn't quite make it.
Well, we'll straighten him out.
Happens.
But dude, I was right across the street.
So, with no further ado, let's roll the footage.
At Paranormal X.
Yes.
He's enjoying himself.
He's a no-good guest.
Well, that's enough from Tracy. Hi, I'm Carrie, and I want to come to Paranormal X to see all my friends. I heard that Carl Johnson was going to be here. I wouldn't miss it. Carl Johnson's the coolest.
Paranormal group, are you an investigator?
Not right now.
Oh, you're just
I'm just a groupie.
you're just here for the food.
What's his name?
Okay.
Nathan.
All right.
Well, these are our friends from Long Island Paranormal Investigators. Would you introduce yourself, gentlemen?
I'm J.M. Fleischer. This is
Mike.
Okay. He's a little shy.
All right. Now here with Renee Smith, our angelologist of New England Anomalies Research. Say hello, Renee.
Hi everybody.
We're so glad you could stop by. I understand you can't stay long.
Try to
But
win money.
yes, you're going to win a lot of money, right?
Yep. That's what I'm trying to do.
You're going to remember us?
Yes.
Now, when you're going to a resort and you're going to win a lot of money, does being an angelologist help with that?
I could try doing a few things. You know, I could try praying to a couple of my angels and see if I can get some help, but I don't know. That might be considered cheating. So maybe I'll just do it the fair way.
No.
The Viking in full glory, Keith. I hope you enjoy it.
Okay, yes, the Viking is.
So, Jason, can you tell us a little about the Tales of Rocky Point?
Tales of Rocky Point actually just premiered. It's a comic about the abandoned amusement park here in Rhode Island that was operating for 150 years. Basically, I created an urban legend around the old dark ride, the House of Horrors, and it involves a mysterious Viking statue that comes back after the condos are built, seeks vengeance on all who desecrate the land.
We are here with Tom D'Agostino, his wife Arlene. Tom has been a guest on our show twice, and here he is for the third time.
Maybe I'll get it right this time.
Yeah. So good to have you here, Arlene, as well.
The Arlene we have only alluded to on Ghost or N.E.A.R.
Well, now you get to see her in real life.
We had to go on a remote shoot to find Arlene.
Corners of the earth.
We have Haunted New Hampshire, Haunted Massachusetts, Haunted Rhode Island, Haunted Tom. So Tom, what will you be speaking about today?
Well, actually, I will be speaking about the vampires of New England, mostly Rhode Island. The
That's
vampires
excellent.
of Rhode Island.
One of my favorite topics.
Oh, yeah.
Feel free to call on Keith.
Oh, I will, definitely. When I start, I'm going to say, I'm going to talk about the vampires of Rhode Island. Keith.
He is another human encyclopedia, as are you.
Yes, he is.
So are you going to have any live appearances? You might make a...
No, all the vampires are dead.
Oh, that's too bad. That we know of. You're going to show your walking stick.
You found that in the Balkans,
Yes,
the Carpathian Mountains.
yes. In some weird-looking giant castles.
Well, we very much look forward to it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I think it'll be very fun. What do you guys think?
I think demonology.
Right.
Let's talk about demonology. We've done the Ghost Hunters 101 a few times lately. Let's talk about demonology.
All right.
Go.
Well, say hi to Sandra, too.
Hi, Sandra!
Hello, Sandra.
Sandra, who's at home and can't be with us on this paranormal accident.
No, she's behind the camera, actually. See, yes, we nodded. There you go. Well, thank you, Sandra. And we look forward to your talk, Tom.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to have fun.
Part when you have the same kind of emotions I was going through me, but there's no way you're going to say, oh, yeah, I should be. All right, so. Like when Barry's good, and Barry like interpreting pressure. Dropping Brian, it's coming. It's coming. You do my thing, man. Jesus.
It's like Barry behind you going, dude, come on out of there.
I'm serious. He's like, come on. All hell's going to break. I'm like, I'm going. I'm putting the camera down. Can't you see? I'm like, leave me alone. Oh, but Barry's a great guy. You know, he actually came with us to do the project in overseas, and he's great. He's funny. He's a good person to learn from, and there's actually, I'll tell you a little story. It was funny. It was actually in one castle, and I don't know why they didn't use this, because this is the funniest thing. I mean, I was on the floor for about a half hour. When Barry, like even with me, I talk, you don't understand me when I talk real fast. Barry, it sounds like Gaelic when he talks fast, because you can't hear him. He's like, yeah, that's good, Barry, go ahead. But one point, you remember at one point with Jason and Grant upstairs, and they're getting the EVPs, and they hear the footsteps and stuff, they're up at the blood chapel. And Barry was running up to save him. Right? I don't know why, he's like a big ass on his chest. And, me, Dustin, and Tango are all sitting in the dining room area, and on the second floor, so we're just trying to investigate there because there's a camera and they want to see if we can catch something. So he comes running in, and he has to tie his shoe for a second. So he ties his shoe, he leaves his flashlight on the table, and zooms out of there again. So we're like, and he didn't say a word to us. I don't know what the hell's going on. His camera guy's following him. I'm like, yeah, let's hang it up. So we all look at each other like, So he comes back down to grab his flashlight, and he's like, oh, yeah, Benny, Jason, upstairs, and catching all this stuff. He's talking so fast that I'm the only one that can understand him. I'm like, oh, that's great, man. That's good. That's good. So Tango and Dustin both look at me. I'm like, what? He goes, Dustin goes, did you understand anything he said? I said, yeah. He goes, I just caught 2 words. The rest was marshmallows and cereal. I lost it. I know, it was the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. I was on the floor for like a half hour. Like, they were like, you know, it was great. It was just, I wish they would use stuff like that on the show. It's just comedy and a half. Anybody else, or should I go on another story, or what?
Brian?
Yes?
Would you mind sharing a little bit about what first interested you in getting into paranormal research?
I was going to do that story. A few people here know him. He's a good friend of mine, Josh Barber. He actually he helps out with Scars Magazine, and he runs with his friends. He runs the Rhode Island International Horror Film Festival. I've known him since I was 8. We used to go to summer camp together, and my parents and his parents, yada yada yada. So one day, it was the first time I got to sleep out of his house, and we're like, all excited. And now you got to understand Josh. He's been a horror fanatic forever. So, and I didn't really get into horror until I was a teenager. So you walk into his room and he has Jason Voorhees posters with Freddy Krueger and he's sleeping. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on. So we're in there and he's always telling me his house is haunted. You know, I'm 11 years old. I'm like, yeah, whatever. All right? So I'm like, sure. So he's always joking around about it. He's always messing with me. So, you know, we're sleeping over, and, you know, I don't care how many people have slept over at somebody's house. When the parents tell you to go to bed, you don't go to bed. You just don't do it. You stay up and you talk for like 3 more hours, and then you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're dead. So we're sitting there, and he had bunk beds, so I'm on the top bunk, and he's on the bottom bunk. We're just fooling around, throwing pillows at each other, you know, all that kid stuff to do. All of a sudden, a full body apparition walked through the room. Walked right through one wall, walked right through the other wall. And I literally looked at him and I said, "Did you just see that?" And he's like, "Uh-huh." And let's just let you know, we slept in his parents' room that night. We weren't sleeping in that room. And that's what got me going. I mean, it was a full body. I saw his complexion, or he looked like an older man with army BDUs on. He found out we did some history background, and he was a Vietnam vet and hung himself in the attic. He got post-traumatic stress, and he lost it. The only other thing that ever happened in that house, and I got with, you know, when Josh came to some of these conventions and stuff that I was at, I had already told the whole Ghost Hunters crew what happened. And I was like, I told Josh over, I said, "Tell the story." I'm like, it's true. And, you know, he told the same story. And the only thing that ever happened again was, you know those candy corns you get for Halloween? How horrible they are? Well, his mother would insist on buying candy corns every year. So we're like, great, we get nothing to eat. Candy corns. One day the bowl disappeared. So I thought Josh was like playing a joke. I'm like, "Josh, you rock. You don't have to eat candy corn anymore." So he's like, "I didn't do anything." I'm like, "Dude, come on." I'm like, "I know how much you eat candy corn. I eat your candy corn the same amount." So he's like, "No, seriously." I'm like, "All right." So mother's asking us where it is. Take a damn thing. So we find it in the attic. And we find it in the spot supposedly where he hung himself. Like he was sitting right there. And that was the only other thing that happened in the house. Like Josh had some stuff happen to him when he was by himself, but other than that, that was it. That was my personal experience, and that's why all the kids in junior high and high school used to call me, you know, Satanist and a wacko and stuff, because I would get, you know, like I get all the ghost books and the magus and photocopy, like at the public library, photocopying every ghost book, because I don't know why, but most libraries, they don't like you take out your ghost books. They're all for reference, so you have to like photograph everything. So I had spent like, you know, $80 a week photographing. But you know, it was cool though. It was like, you know, that's what I did, and that's what I started to do, and look where it got me. I'm up here talking to you people now. Hi.
Could you explain infrasound to me? I have this little excerpt in my book that really doesn't tell me much about it.
I don't really know much about infrasound.
Infrasound.
Anybody know? I've heard of it, but I've never studied it or anything.
Any ways I guess it is?
No, I've never studied anything like that. And it's kind of, you know, it's kind of hard with the show, because, you know, people won't see, you know, like I got witnesses that, you know, you all have the technical equipment, but you don't realize what happens. Like, we get the equipment like 3 hours before we leave, so I'm looking at the manuals going, oh crap, how do you run this damn thing? Like, seriously, we get the remember the first DVR we got? Like, they're like, here you go, here's the manual, go run it. I'm like, okay. So it's like, you don't really get the time to invest in all these things, because you're on the road all the time, and you're filming, and you're doing 14, 16-hour days, and the rest of the time I'm either, you know, calling home to see how the baby's doing or how she's doing, or sleeping. And it's like, and your downtime, you don't really want to study the paranormal, because you've just done it for 6 months straight from 16 hours a day. And it's like, it's just so hard. It's like, even before the show started, I was like, you and ask Keith, I was always like booking a nose in a book, or, you know, going out there and doing stuff. It was just hard after the show started, because, you know, I hear all these cool things about infrasound and certain, you know, sound wave technologies and certain different audio technologies, and I don't have time. You just don't have time to do it. It's too hard.
Have you worked with that K2 meter? That looks interesting.
No, I haven't never worked with the K2 meter, and I just by theory alone, I have my doubts about it, because it's that whole click 2 times for yes or once for no or something like that. And you know, I've never run one, so I don't know. But it's like, how how good are the insides to where if you don't just touch it, it clicks? You know what I mean? I don't know. I've never had one. It's like until I can actually get my hands on one and take it apart and see how good the insides run and how everything runs, I'll be okay with it. But I've never touched one yet.
And it doesn't have the bandwidth, say, a regular EMF does,
No.
correct? Yeah.
But, you know, I hear a lot of people like it, and I hear a lot of people have used it, and they enjoy it, and you know, more power to them. You know, it's just I don't like running the EMF. As you notice, if you haven't seen it, Steve usually drives the EMF detector because it is the most boring thing to do to read off numbers all night. 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 2.1, no crap, you know. You know, and you look like literally like I know it's kind of funny, but you know, like when you're running one of those and you're like, and you're trying to get results real quick because you know you don't have a certain amount of time for the ghost to be there, and it's like that's why I gave Steve it all the time. I'm like, dude, I can't do this. I'm like, I look so tired of doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like and plus the ones that they have, there's no back LED lights, so you have to hold a flashlight at the same time. So half the time I was dropping the damn thing. And I'm like, Steve, just please do this. I'm like, just give me an EP audio recorder and a camera and I'll be happy, you know. But, you know, other than that, no, I just, what was the question again? I'm just lost.
K2 meter.
K2 meter, yes. But no, the K2 meter I haven't touched it. But anything else? Anybody else? Are you running late? Are you still good in time here?
Still good.
Most haunted in Rhode Island, I'll tell you.
Most haunted place in Rhode Island? Lad School, actually. I can't think about it. You heard the first place, I'll never forget this now. Oh crap, who was this?
Protect somebody's evil spirit.
No, just my fiance. Just tell me about baby.
As you know who we are, we've appeared on Ghost Hunters, and we've been in T.A.P.S, and now we're all doing a little different things right now. Lisa's in N.E.A.R, which is the Johnson's group, and Paula is, what do you do, Paula?
I just joined N.E.A.P, and my new team members are in the back of the room, and I'm with Paranormal.
Hi! They're a good team. And I've been doing various projects myself, working here and there and different things. And as Brian was talking about earlier, we just completed a pilot for a show, which will be pretty much like a spin-off of Ghost Hunters. And I can't really say much more than that, but it's going to be pretty cool, and I really hope it happens. But anyways, on to our lecture here. We want to talk about the significance of women in the paranormal. You know, you watch, I mean, not to put down Ghost Hunters or any Most Haunted or anything like that, but you don't really see women taking a prominent role on these shows. We're either screaming or crying or nodding. Or going, oh, that sounds great, guys.
I'll take that flyer down. Okay, sure.
That's not how it really goes. Usually just one of us at the time, and then that's called The Girl. It happens on radio shows, too.
But that's not really what it's like. We are there on the investigations just as long as the guys are. And we have our own contributions to the investigations, which are a little bit different than the guys. And we just want to bring more visibility to women in the paranormal. I mean, women such as, you know, Karen that was speaking about EVPs, and Rosemary Guiley, and there's so many other women out there.
And Sandra.
And Sandra Johnson, absolutely. Also, in addition, what I like to do is when I go into onto an investigation, I like to sit in the room, set my baseline, and then go to the next step and feel out the room. And when I say feel out the room, how does it feel? How does it feel to you? What does it mean to you? Are you getting any feelings? Is it creepy? Do you think because, you know, the walls are painted dark or there's, you know, drabby curtains? You know, try to understand the psychological impact of the impression of the room that's giving on to you, so you can better evaluate your perception of the room. So there's a lot of psychology that goes behind why you would think something is haunted. Because if you're looking at the drabby curtains and the, you know, the rotten rug on the floor and maybe a dead cat in the corner or something like that, then you're more apt to think that this place could be haunted. But maybe there's nothing going on. Maybe there's nothing at all. So it's really important to evaluate your own psychological perception. In terms of spirituality, I mean, we're all out there for answers, let's face it. We want to either, verify our faith or find hope that there is something beyond just, what we're seeing and hearing in front of our eyes on the material level here on this level. So it's the spiritual journey, I believe. Every time I go out on an investigation, I feel like it is for a personal spiritual journey. I get the opportunity to go out and explore with other investigators and maybe learn and maybe connect to another dimension that normally I wouldn't be able to connect with in my everyday life, going to work, coming home, cooking, grocery shopping. You don't pay attention to that stuff, but when you investigate, that's your time to develop almost your spirituality in a way. So I like to go into a room and sit down and really feel it out. And you've got to know yourself very well. Are you tired? Are you hungry? Are you angry, sad? Make sure you clear that out or learn to clear that out. So whatever you're taking in, if it's real, then you mark it down, you write it down, and documentation is so important. I can't emphasize that enough. You see us all running around on TV without notebooks or pads and stuff, but write things down.
In real life, we actually do have pads and a pencil.
Right.
It's like school, writing everything down, or taking notes on the recorder or whatever.
Right, and that's because when you leave an investigation, you forget 90% of the stuff that, you're too busy packing up, worrying when you're going to get to sleep and blah, blah, blah. But I'd like to emphasize to all of you to take that extra step after doing your baseline to really feel out, because that's the next step. And I think our own human growth and our spiritual growth, what is there? What are we feeling? How are we connecting with this thing, if there is a thing out there? And what answers are we looking for? I mean, what really are we looking for? I mean, did we lose a loved one? Are we trying to connect with that? Are we trying to make sure this person's okay? Are we trying to prove that something somebody said was there is there? So it's important to really be completely unbiased when you go into a situation where you investigate. And I can't emphasize that enough. It's hard to do.
Adding to what Donna said, she's saying to be spiritual, but know yourself. And a big part of that is to be objective and to know, like, even though I believe in God and angels and all that, that doesn't mean that's what's going on here. I need to almost take a step back and just be open to whatever is going on here, regardless of what my belief system is. This might right here be an enlightening situation to really what the bigger picture is, and it might not be anything within my current belief system. And I think it's just important to be objective, especially if it has something to do with the loved one that you lost, because that's definitely going to make you be more subjective and want to see something, just to know that your loved one's okay. But it's a touchy subject, but you have to be careful and make sure you're not using that as your approach or your hope to see something.
And adding to that, when you go and research a location, it's very important, obviously, you know a little bit about the history, you know a little bit about what happened. Try hard, and it's very difficult to do, not to let that influence you on investigation. Say Mary Jones was murdered on the 3rd floor. If you have that in your head, it's going to stay there. You've got to try to really be unbiased and go in with an unsoiled mindset. It's hard to do, but it can be done. So my suggestion would be designate somebody on the team to do all the research and kind of keep that to the side until the investigation is done. Then compare notes and see what matches up. It's just an idea.
One of the things I wanted to add to what you said was when you say they have to clear their mind and make a baseline, is the concept of mindfulness, and I think it's a very useful tool. I use it a lot. I think we both use that quite a bit. It kind of comes from the Buddhist philosophy of emptying your mind, and if you can establish a state of mind where you're not thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow or what time the investigation is going to end that night or if you're going to see anything scary, you just establish yourself in a place of mindfulness, and that means living in that moment. Every moment is going to die off by itself. You'll never have that moment again. So it's really important excuse me, to try to take each moment and live it fully absorb what's going on around you at that time, because if you're thinking ahead or if you're distracted, you could miss some really key evidence. So that's one concept that I use quite a bit, is the concept of mindfulness, and I think that it's a really valuable tool for anyone who's investigating in the paranormal, especially when, like Donna said, if you're establishing a baseline in a room, if you're going to spend some time in a room, you need to be quiet, you need to just be, be in that moment and just absorb everything that's happening as it happens.
When she died. 9.
I hope you enjoyed that footage from our great time at Paranormal X.
That was a good time.
Fine time was had by all.
Unfortunately,
Interesting speakers.
They didn't get to see us speak there, but they can hear us speak now, right? Here we are.
But we did speak at Paranormal X, did we not? We were well received, yes.
We did.
Yes. Actually, I was doing all the filming, so that's why I wasn't able to...
yeah, I'm saying, when are we going to come on?
Lecture.
Oh, no, we're not.
Next time, next year.
Sandra, I'm going to ask you to say... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to have Sandra say a little bit about our contact info.
Oh, sure thing.
I'll say a little prayer for you.
Carl, be quiet. We at New England Anomalies Research are available to research local alleged hauntings or assist those of you who may be experiencing unexplained phenomena in your home or business.
Yes, we are.
And we'd like to hear from you. There's our email address, ghostsarnear@cox.net. If you'd like to be a guest or have us come in and investigate, and guess what? We'll believe you.
Very good. What were you saying, Renee? You were starting to say something?
Oh, I was going to ask you what you guys talked about.
We talked about demonology.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Our topic was demonology by unanimous request.
Yes, we actually gave the audience a choice, and that's what they chose. So.
Oh, well, why would they choose anything different, right?
Yeah. And we got them all.
Yeah, we put the demonology.
And we'll have to have you speak about angelology again.
One of these days I will.
It's a plan.
Hope so. It's a plan. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us and hope you enjoyed the footage. Obviously, there was a lot more, but there's only so much we can show you in a half-hour segment. But any last words?
Any last requests?
Carl, you're always complaining we don't let you talk. Here you go.
Renee, we're so glad to have you here. I'm sorry it's a show where you really can't do much talking.
That's okay.
But I think
I don't mind.
I think we should talk more. And
okay.
Angelology is your specialty, so that's
what do you
probably
think
what
of the setup at Paranormal X?
I think it was really nice. There's definitely plenty of time for people to kind of sit and talk and sign autographs and things like that. So
good way to make connections too. People to meet each other that they may have.
Yes, it was a good networking vehicle.
Very
chatting going on.
Across the country, and then they meet these people in person. And, a lot of people were waiting to meet us, and which we've been corresponding with, and Brian, and the Divas, and Tom, and all our speakers there.
This is true.
Yeah.
Ray Dualaby did an excellent job with Paranormal
X.
Yes,
yep.
And the food was very good.
The food was excellent. Excellent. Oh, I love those sirloin tips.
Yeah, I could go for that more often.
I'm hungry.
Yes. Thank you, Ray. Let's do it again soon.
Yes. And you've got all these accoutrements from our N.E.A.R occult museum, but we don't have any food.
Yeah, I'd go for the food. I'm getting hungry now that you're mentioning it.
Yeah. Well,
stop talking about
that
food.
next time.
How's that? How about we all go out after this and get some snacks?
We can go to Buckstars.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent idea. Great. Well, on that note, we'd like to say thank you very, very much for joining us. Hope to see you again real soon. And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Join us at Buckstars.